Alright, what's up everybody? My name is Dave of aka Gaming, and welcome to part 3 of Killer 7 Explained. Today, we're going to be going for the timeline, and it's a long one, because there's so much stuff that happens, and certain events obviously take place in certain timelines. Now, the timeline itself isn't exactly complicated, but the story made it complicated. So, it all starts in the year 1750 in New Southampton, Wineport. Harmon Deltahan was born. That's right, not Harmon Smith. Harmon Deltahan was born. He was the firstborn son to his family. Also in 1750, in Lhasa, Tibet's capital, Kun Lan was born. From birth, he was the heir of the governor. He was born an adult. In 1753, Kun Lan, at the age of 3, became worshipped as the reincarnation of a demon. An underground organization recognized him as their leader at age 3, but somehow he was born as an adult. In 1758, Harmon Deltahan, now at the age of 8, met a man who introduced himself as Harmon's neighbor. The man had an angelic smile. In 1768, Harmon Deltahan's beloved Susan was murdered. Until this point, Harmon had lived an ordinary American life. With his loss, he went mad. He first encountered the remnant psyches at the villa where Susan had been killed. When Harmon entered the villa, he saw a vision of 6 corpses and Susan, who was tied up. The neighbor with the angelic smile had guided him to the villa. It was then that Harmon Deltahan decided to change sides from victim to killer. In 1772, Harmon Deltahan joined the Jim Townsend Survey Company. While the JT Survey Company outwardly portrayed itself as a census institute, its real work involved taking quote-unquote contract missions of assassination. Harmon entered the world of professional killers. This is when it started. In 1774, Harmon Deltahan left for a mission that brought him to the Union Hotel. On the rooftop, he met a man named Dimitri, whose nickname was Free Eyes. The neighbor with the angelic smile, Kun Lan, appeared in front of Harmon Deltahan. Kun Lan became the medium for which Free Eyes spoke. Harmon and Kun Lan quickly became close friends. They met for tea regularly. In 1775, Harmon Deltahan killed Jim Townsend, head of the JT Survey Company. Harmon was revered as one of the world's best killers. He formed the first Smith Syndicate and changed his name to Harmon Smith. Harmon Smith was feared globally as one of the most horrific assassins. Dimitri was the first member of the first Smith Syndicate. He was Harmon's first victim and the origin of Harmon Smith's God-killer powers. Dimitri was believed by others to be Harmon Smith's bodyguard and inspired fear equal to that inspired by Harmon Smith. This was the start of Harmon's multiple personalities. In 1778, Harmon Smith unexpectedly quit professional assassination. He disappeared from society and history. Dimitri was rejected by the core persona. The core persona separated from Harmon Smith and became Harmon Deltahan once more. In 1780, Harmon Deltahan founded Coburn Elementary School and became the school's first principal. Secret underground organizations funded Harmon Deltahan and Coburn. They wanted Coburn to specialize in educating individuals who would spread and cultivate capitalism. In 1789, the first presidential primary election was held at Coburn Elementary School. In 1820, the dead bodies of Harmon Deltahan and Coulon were found at Coburn. They had been killed while playing chess. 1942, Emir Parkreiner was born. Dmitri disappeared from society and was not heard from again. In 1946, in the political turmoil following Japan's defeat in World War II, the Liberal Party proved itself so inept that it couldn't pay for the rental of its own facilities. Toru Fukushima was working as an aide to a member of the Japanese Diet when he was contacted by the UN Party. Fukushima became a political architect for the UN Party. Remember how he was saying he always wanted to be an architect? In 1948, according to official records, Emir Parkreiner's parents died in a car accident. In 1952, Emir Parkreiner killed his parents and disappeared from society. At the time, he had been living with his parents under the surveillance of the U.S. government in an isolated state. In 1953, the Union 7 wrote the Yakumo Cabinet Policy. The Union 7 was comprised of young Japanese political figures who were members of the Liberal Party, though they stood apart from the internal conflict that threw the party into chaos. The Yakumo was given to the Liberal Party's chief secretary, but it vanished. The Union 7 was dissolved as a group. The following year, the UN Party overtook the Liberal Party in the political arena. In 1954, the horrific crimes committed by the killer known as the Bloody Heartland became serious problems to society. 1955, the Union 7 attended a secret meeting at the Union Hotel, which was called the Yakumo Secret Meeting. They were killed by a serial murder, though the whole incident was hushed up. The affair was called Killer 7. Now there is a connection. On the rooftop of the Union Hotel, Harmon Smith met a dying boy with 3 eyes. The boy was Emir Parkreiner. Harmon Deltahan and Coulon were resurrected. In 1957, the second Smith Syndicate was formed with 7 persona. They were called Killer 7. In 1959, Curtis Blackburn was in his mid-teens. Though he became notorious among Seattle's underground societies, he did not belong to a criminal organization. He worked for the government, and his work consisted of contracts from the U.S. government. 1960, Japan and the U.S. signed a security treaty. 1967, Hiro Kasai met Harmon Smith in Hakone, Japan. He had a mission for Harmon. Kasai wanted Harmon to investigate the security of the votes of countries involved with the Asian Security Treaty. After his investigation, Harmon promised Kasai that the treaty would be ratified and gave Kasai the report of his investigation. Harmon Smith met the chairman of the countries who are members of the Asian Security Treaty. The treaty was ratified, and Japan became a member of the council. In front of Harmon, the chairman committed suicide. 1969, Travis Bell became the first victim of the Second Smith Syndicate. 1973, Harmon Smith lost his chess game against Coulon. Remember how Harmon said he always wins? Well, apparently, that time he actually lost. As part of his loss, Harmon promised to give Coulon control over the major cities of the west coast of the U.S. Harmon began the process by sending Dan Smith to Curtis Blackburn in Seattle to destroy the small gangs there and establish Blackburn's control. Christopher Mills, as a young boy, became Blackburn's informant and entered the world of underground society. Oh man. timeline. There's still a lot more of the timeline to cover, believe me. So, until next time, we'll be covering up the rest of the timeline.